You should be proud of that. A couple procedural things before we get started. Can everybody see the clock?
Yep.
Okay, you will not have warnings during your demonstration because you have the clock. You do have your cards in front of you, and you also have some paper at your tables. Those you can write on during the meeting, okay? Madam Chairperson, you have an extra stack of papers there. You're free to write on whatever you want, the card or the paper, okay? During the meeting, you can keep notes on whatever you want. At the end of the meeting, you have to leave those here. Don't take them with you. Okay?
Yep.
All right, you're going to go ahead and start your 1 minute planning, and then once that minute is over, your chair is free to start the meeting whenever she wishes. So
Yes, sir.
you can go ahead and get started.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Station by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duties to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington,
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among members and strive to build our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need rises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripen with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our President, who's placed beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. We will follow the leadership of our President. We'll be led out of darkness and selfishness into glory, sunlight, brotherhood, and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and several guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented.
Madam President,
Colin.
I move that the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter sponsor a family farm to fork dinner for FFA members and their families this fall.
Second. It has been moved by Colin and seconded by Macy that the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter sponsor a family farm to fork dinner for FFA members and their families this fall. I'd like to remind the Assembly this motion is debatable and amendable and it requires majority vote. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Colin.
my fellow floor members, I believe this is a great idea because it expands our FFA chapter to many of our friends, students, and their families who may live far away. This can promote our ideas with them and open up new opportunities for funding and new activities in our chapter. So I believe we should all vote up on this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Macy.
Thank you, Madam President. I seconded this motion because I believe this is a great way to get our families together and go over all the accomplishments we've accomplished this winter and spring. I believe this is a great way to get us all together and gather and socialize. So please join me in voting this motion up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
James.
Thank you, Madam President. My fellow floor members, I believe this motion is a fantastic idea. Not only because it will bring us closer as a community, but as well as it is an ability to let us mingle freely. So I urge you to join me in a yes vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Elias.
Thank you, Madam President. Fellow floor members, I feel this is not a good idea because we have state convention coming up, and I feel that we don't have the funds or the time to adequately do this project. So please vote this down.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Terrence.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe this is an amazing way to support our community. This is such a great way to help those who aren't as lucky as some of us and are going through hard times, which is why we should all vote this up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Josie.
Thank you, Madam President. I stand in favor of this motion because in the FFA Creed states, I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born, not of words, but of deeds. This perfectly embodies what our FFA chapter is about. This is a great deed that we can do for our FFA chapter and their families to get to feed them. This is our way of showing our appreciation. So please vote pro for this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Terrence.
I move for a 5-minute recess.
Second.
It has been moved by Terrence and seconded by Macy to have a 5-minute recess. I'd like to remind the Assembly this motion is not debatable, yet it is amendable as for the length of time allotted. We will now move to a vote. All those in favor, please, is there any amendments? Seeing none, we will now move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify with a no.
No.
The noes have it. Motion fails. We are now back on the main motion. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Josie.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to amend the main motion by striking out their families and inserting the community. So if passed, the main motion now reads, I move that the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter sponsor a family farm folk dinner for the FFA members and the community this fall.
Second.
It has been moved by Josie and seconded by Terrence to amend the main motion by striking out their families and inserting the community. So if passed, the motion will read, I move that the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter sponsor a family farm fork dinner for FFA members and the community this fall. I'd like to remind the Assembly this motion is debatable and amendable and it requires majority vote. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Josie.
Thank you, Madam President. Fellow floor members, we need to vote this motion up because not only will we be getting to feed our families, but also the less unfortunate in our community. This is what people need to thrive because I know we have less unfortunate that go to our school and could really use this. So please stand with me with a yes vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Colin.
my fellow floor members, I believe this is a great idea because this is an inspiring task that our FFA chapter can do for the community. And the community is not well off at our school. And we see that when we come to school every day. So to give people the opportunity to eat good food and surround them with great people is amazing for our FFA chapter. So we need to vote up this motion.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Macy.
Thank you, Madam President. I am strongly in favor with the maker of this motion because this is a great way to get our community together and show them what our FFA chapter is about. Many of the people in our community do not know what FFA is about. We need to educate them on what this is about, and I feel this is a great way to do it with a perfect dinner. So please join me in voting this motion up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
James.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe that this motion is a fantastic idea, not only because the people at the end of the year are struggling with many tests and lots of other personal personal problems. So I believe that we should have a place for them to relax and enjoy themselves, and a dinner would be a perfect opportunity for that. So I urge you to join me in a yes vote.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Elias.
Thank you, Madam President. Fellow floor members, I feel that this is a terrible idea because we do not have the resources nor the room to host everybody in our community to a dinner. So please vote this down.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Terrence.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe this is a great idea for our chapter. I'm in full support of it because it will get us more support with our chapter, and it will also help our community and get us more members, which is why this is an amazing idea.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Colin.
I'd like to reiterate how important it is that we vote this up so we can expand our FFA chapter in our community and reach the alumni that we don't often reach. So please, stand with me and vote yes.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now move to a vote on the amendment. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify with a no.
No.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. We are now back on the main motion. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President,
Elias.
I move to refer this motion to Committee of 5 appointed by the chair, with the chair, to report back at our next regular scheduled meeting.
Second.
It has been moved by Elias and seconded by Colin to refer this to a committee of 5 appointed by the chair, with a chair, to report back to us at our next regularly scheduled meeting. I'd like to remind the Assembly, this motion is debatable and amendable, and it requires a majority vote. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Elias.
Thank you, Madam President. I feel we need a committee to decide this because our assembly is split on this, and I feel that we have more important business to tend to. So I urge you to vote this up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Josie.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise strongly against this motion because we're going to be the ones sponsoring this, so I believe that we should get to decide when we're going to have this and where we're going to have this and get the extra details, which is why I believe we should vote this motion down.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
James.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe that we should vote this motion up because with sports, fundraisers, and other school activities, we do not have the time nor the resources to vote on this motion respectively. So I believe that we should pass this on to a committee. So please vote this motion up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Terrence.
Thank you, Madam President. I am in strong favor with this motion because this gives us more time to get to more important matters like state convention and other things that are happening in our chapter, which is why we should all vote this up.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam President.
Macy.
Thank you, Madam President. I disagree with the maker of this motion because I believe that since our whole chapter is going to be there, we need to decide on this as a chapter because we are a team, we do things as a team, which means we need to decide this as a team. So please join me in voting this motion down.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now move to a vote on referring this to a committee. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify with a no.
No.
The noes have it. Motion fails.
Division.
Division has been called. We will now move to a rising vote. All those in favor, please stand. Thank you. You may sit. All those opposed, please stand. Thank you. You may sit. Motion fails 4-2. We are now back on the main motion. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now move to a vote on the main motion. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify with a no.
No.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. Does the Secretary have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Abingdon Avon FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in a salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned. Please rise for questioning. Please rise for questioning.
All right, we're going to start with your oral questions. Please remember that this is individualized questions, so you and you alone should be answering these questions. All right, we'll start with the Vice President, whose required motion was recess. In the form that you presented this motion in this meeting, is the motion to take a recess debatable and amendable?
It is amendable but not debatable.
Are there any circumstances in which the recess is debatable?
When it is made as an incidental main motion.
All right, division of the assembly for the reporter, okay? As a member, when you make the motion to call for a division of the assembly, you are requiring the chairperson to do what?
Take a counted vote.
Under what circumstances can the chair deny your request?
When it is out of order.
Secretary, no required motion, but your question would be, in a business meeting, what are the minutes?
Can you please restate the question?
In a business meeting, what are the minutes?
Old business and new business?
Okay? And you are responsible for managing those. What happens to them after your meeting?
I correspond with other secretaries about what was conducted during my meeting.
Okay? And the treasurer. Your required motion was the amendment. What's the difference between a first and a second degree amendment?
A First Amendment is applied to other motions, but a secondary amendment can be applied to another amendment.
If you have a main motion, a first degree amendment, and a second degree amendment, all pending at the same time, what order are these motions voted upon?
The second degree amendment, then the first degree amendment, and then the main motion.
Okay? For the Sentinel, refer to a committee. In making this motion, you can't just say, I move that we refer this to a committee. You have to provide additional details in the motion. Give me an example of what those details might be.
You might have to specify how many members you are referring it to.
Okay? What is a standing committee?
May you please restate the question, sir?
What is a standing committee?
It is a committee that presides to the president.
All right, for the student advisor, your team demonstrated an amendment and a referral. What is the motion immediately above these two in the order of precedence?
Postpone to a certain time or definitely, sir.
And what is the motion that is immediately below these motions in the order of precedence?
Postpone indefinitely. Kill the motion.
For your chairperson, when does the chairperson vote?
Can you please restate the question?
When as chairperson would you vote?
I would either vote as to break a tie, or I would vote when I need to break a tie.
And when can the chair debate a motion?
The chair can only debate a motion if she hands over the chair to the vice president.
Okay. Nice job, you guys. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank
Melissa,
you.
take her paper.
You guys can go ahead and leave all your paperwork at your stations, and then you're free to go.